Hello, crafty friends. Welcome. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. I have a one cover plate wonder to show you in today's video. So I'm going to be doing a little bit of stitching and some die cutting using Spellbinders Stitching Die of the Month for May. This is simply called Stitched Balloon Card Front. It's an A2 sized cover plate. It cuts out all of the balloons, except for the two that are behind the stitching balloons. But I'll show you what this looks like in just a second. So it is 5.5 by 4.25 in size. And you can make up some really fun birthday or congratulatory cards with this. So I cut it out several times. I wasn't sure which color I wanted to use, but I settled on Dune, and I'm going to put a panel of waterfall cardstock behind that. So I'm going to start by attaching the waterfall blue cardstock to my card base. I'm going to pop up some of these balloons so you'll be able to see a little bit of this blue cardstock on the edges. And now for the panel, I'm just attaching it with some more of the dot liner. I love how this cover plate die cuts into the panel for the balloon strings. So you can really see the strings on this panel. I already stitched up a bunch of balloons for this card, but I used 2 colors of thread for each balloon. Let me show you this yellow one. Get the right tweezers here. I like my straight tweezers. I like them better than the kind of bent tip ones. But here is a close-up look at one of the balloons. And as you can see, I used pink and yellow thread for this. And I'm going to show you how I did this. Not that it's difficult by any means. I also cut out more of the balloons with the waterfall cardstock. And those will go behind the stitched balloons. There's a place embossed on the panel that shows you exactly where to put those. But let's go ahead and stitch up one of these balloons. So I have some purple thread that I'm using, and I taped it onto the back of the balloon. I'll skip every other hole on the side of the balloon, and then just go down the middle of the balloon. These are very fast to stitch. They won't take you much time at all. But I'll just work my way around the balloon. Now I can trim off my thread and pull out some pink embroidery floss. I'm holding the 2 ends while I embroider around the balloon. And then once I'm done, I can just tape down both ends at the same time. But of course, I'm just going up the holes that I skipped and then down into the center hole. I'm using some lighter pink floss for this balloon just so it shows up a little bit better. Now I can tape my ends down and trim off the overhang. And let me give you a close-up look at this cute little balloon. It'd be really fun to use some metallic embroidery floss on these, make it look a little more festive or sparkly. So I decided to pop up some of the balloons with some foam squares. Just going to kind of put them in place. I'm not taking the release paper off yet. I still need to glue down the plain balloons or the non-embroidered balloons. I'll just add a little bit of glue behind these and then put them down right over the embossed balloon. I like that it shows you where they need to go. Now for the yellow one, for the balloon that's going to go in between these two plain balloons, I'm adding some scrap paper just so it will be the same height as the other two balloons. I don't want it to sag. So now I can take off the release paper from the foam squares and start putting the embroidered balloons in place. You can kind of see the blue cardstock from the sides of the balloons. It looks really cute. Now for the last balloon. So there's a little kind of a circle in the middle of these balloons where I'm going to put my sentiment. And for the sentiment, I'm using the clear stamp and die of the month for May. I love that it comes with the coordinating die. However, you can get the stamp of the month with just the stamp if you want. So I'll stamp this out using some VersaFine Onyx black ink onto a piece of white cardstock. And then I can tape down the coordinating die and run this through my Platinum 6. Here it is, all ready to go. I'm going to just glue this down flat. And it says, "Today is all about you." I'm going to use some Spellbinders gems on these balloons, and I'm using a coordinating color. So I'm using a green gem on the green balloon, and so forth. I have these pretty yellow gems. I'm using all the same size. Next, I have a pink gem. And now for a purple gem. And then I do end up adding a few gems around the balloons as well. And here it is, all done. Isn't that such a fun birthday card? So I had so much fun making this one that I had to create some more. Card number 2 is going to be perfect for someone who's turning 50. I'm going to have black balloons, and for a touch of color, I'm going to add a pop of red. My sentiment comes from a stamp set called It's Party Time, and I'm going to stamp out the sentiment that says, "Let's have a blowout for your birthday." I cut out my panel with some fog cardstock, which is a really pale gray cardstock. It's new to the Spellbinders shop. I already stitched my red balloons with some black embroidery floss. Then I'm going to just glue these down with some liquid glue. I wanted to make the strings of the balloons a little more visible, so I'm using some black thread and just gluing them down the embossed lines, or the cut lines for the string. I'm also going to attach some little black bows using a micro dot or a glue dot. And then I'm attaching some flowers using the mini bloom set. So I'm pulling in a lot of older sets for this card. I added some black gems, and here is a close-up look at card number 2. For the black balloons, I used some brushed black cardstock, which gives it a really pretty shimmer. And then for card number 3, I wanted to try my hand at making a shaker card. These balloon cutouts are perfect for that. So I'm attaching some acetate. I just used a little bit of dot liner for this. And then I cut out a panel with some glitter silver foam. And this will go behind this panel. I'm going to attach this with some liquid glue. And you'll just barely be able to see a hint of the glitter around the edges of the card and inside the balloon windows. I pulled out some Spellbinders embellishments. I'll pour in some sprinkles in 2 of the balloon windows. This is going to create kind of a thin shaker card. I didn't double up the foam, so I don't want too many embellishments in these windows. I'll pour some polka dot embellishments in the other 2 windows. I pulled out some cardstocks that kind of mimic the colors of the embellishments. So you see the pink and the green there to the side. I'm going to use those two balloons on the front of the card. I'll trap the embellishments using some liquid glue. And I'm being careful to go around each and every balloon. And then I can press down the white card base to trap all of the pretty embellishments. I do cover this with some acrylic blocks and let it sit for a few minutes. The sentiment comes from an older set. It was a die of the month from September of 2021. It's called Layered Mix and Match Sentiments. I'll leave a link to this set if it's still available. I love this set. Now I can glue on my green and pink balloon, just using more liquid glue. And this time it's going over the other balloons. But of course, because I turned them into shaker windows, these have to go on top. But I really love how these look. Now I can attach my sentiments. So I'll put the happy birthday sentiment at the bottom. I'll start with the birthday and work up from there. I also used the Clear Stamp and Die of the Month Club for May to stamp out the sentiment that says hip hip hooray. I created some cute little bows using some purple and white baker's twine, and I'll attach them to most of the balloons using a micro dot. This sentiment I'll put right on the pink balloon. And here is a close-up look at the shaker card. Isn't that so much fun? You could send that out to a child or an adult. I think anyone would love it. So again, this die is called the Stitched Balloon Card Front. I have a feeling this one's going to go really fast. So if you're interested in picking these up, I would do so sooner than later. It goes on sale the 6th of the month. I do have the affiliate link listed in my description box. And if you use that, I would be very grateful. Thanks for spending some time with me today, my crafty friends. I hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.